Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley
and Will. So it's E3 time again. Most of the conferences have happened, and I've got some feelings. I hope you guys have got some feelings too.
I've got some feelings.
I don't do feelings.
So who would like to go first with their overall feelings without naming any games specifically?
My feelings is that I utterly abhor the phrase deep dive.
Okay.
And this was full of deep diving.
And I've been saying that term myself
I
quite a
know,
lot.
but I've just associated it with wankiness because everyone I've heard that has uttered it has been a wanker.
Thanks.
While we're on that note, my feeling is they shouldn't allow, professional influences into these things because they're the ones that stand in there. And when Bethesda are saying, oh, yeah, we're going to put our patch out for this game, you've got guys going, whoa, yeah!
Do you know what?
Yeehaw!
Do you know what? Do you notice
God.
that was purely for their benefit? Because it was only the first two rows that had the standing ovations and all that. I had a look at that, and it was the first couple of rows, and they were there to make the most noise.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of heckling.
Well, it wasn't
but
even
some of
heckling. It was mindless cheering. It was paid for. It was pay-per-clap.
So joy should be banned.
No,
from
it's
E3.
not joy. It's fake joy. It's canned laughter.
I don't. Yeah, I know. In some cases,
No, I
it
meant
was
purely for the
nauseating.
Bethesda one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I skipped through quite a lot of that, so maybe
didn't
I
miss
didn't
much.
notice it so much.
It was
I found
agony.
I found it particularly egregious at Square, but then I think I might have just been in a foul mood yesterday morning.
Well, it's a shame you're not allowed to mention any particular games at this
No.
stage, Rob, because I can't imagine what thing in the Square conference put you in a foul mood.
No.
No,
We must
there.
enter
We'll get
this
there.
with eyes unclouded by hate.
That's right.
And
That's
then bring
it.
the
We'll-
hate.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think my overall feeling was that this seemed very much like a stopgap year for the industry.
Yes.
It definitely feels like we're on the eve of the next generation.
Oh, yeah.
And I also thought that, like basically as many game announcements as there were, there didn't seem to be an awful lot of stuff looking that far ahead because I think they're holding all that back.
Yeah.
I think in some cases they may have even jumped the gun with some of that, especially Bethesda last year. But that's kind of my overall feelings on it, I think. I'm just grateful that I can play everything that I want to play in the next 12 months, probably, and not have to quit my job.
To be fair to Bethesda, I don't think they jumped the gun last year. They had been being asked for years and years and years when Elder Scrolls 6 will be a thing. And so what they did last year is they just confirmed it's there, but it's a long way away. So can you stop fucking asking now, please? Oh, and before that, there is another game as well, which is a long fucking way away. We've told you about them. Now can we focus on the near term? So
Yeah.
I will give Bethesda that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair dues. And have you got any other general thoughts that Marcus and I haven't covered, really?
I was generally, to extend on your theme, I was generally ambivalent. There are a few exciting games, so we'll definitely cover those. And there are a couple of things that certainly made you seem to swivel your head round and throw up all around the walls. And I'm sure we'll probably cover that as well.
Yeah.
But really, I felt a bit meh.
Yes.
Overall, nothing really excited me that was new, with one exception. The only thing that I didn't already know for certain, that hadn't been officially confirmed, and we'll figure out what that might be later. There was only really one that I went, oh, yes, day one, and I hadn't really known anything much about it, or hadn't known these things. The rest are all games we knew about, finding out more detail and going, oh, yes, that is as good as I'd already expected. There was nothing new for me.
No.
For me, yeah, it was quite lackluster. I mean, compared to last year, when a couple of them you kind of go, oh, who won E3? This year, there isn't even really talk about it. There are a few exceptional moments, but overall, I think no one even came close to breaking even, let alone winning. I think
Microsoft only needed to phone it in without their main competition.
Yeah, it was quite muted. I mean, when they said they were going to show off like 60 games, 100 and something games, talking about their new console, I was thinking, holy shit, now that Sony have kind of just stepped out, they're swinging their MS dick around and and they're going to basically just take over, which they didn't do. I'm really surprised.
I mean, sort of danger of moving into specifics slightly, just slightly here.
We'll hover around a little bit longer, but
the lack of a reveal of the new Xbox I didn't find too surprising. It was disappointing, sure, but I didn't find it surprising because Sony had decided to step away this year. I don't think they wanted to show their cards that early on.
I wanted to see some sort of technical demo.
Too early, too soon. Neither of them wants to get their cock out until the other one has.
Yeah, but I kind of thought it was kind of like, they were going to go and do it and try and see whether Sony flinch or not.
But look, they've confirmed the dates and they've confirmed some basics. They've said it's going to be out holiday next year, so we're talking November release. Now, there is time to change the tech specs. If they put anything down solid on paper, Sony have got something to beat. Similarly, if Sony say exactly what it's going to have, it'll beat it. They talk about principles.
Yeah.
Saying it'll have an SD. They're not saying what kind of SD.
It's true. I did find one phrase they used interesting when they said they're trying to cater for 4 generations of Xbox with this one. So are they basically doing what the Xbox One X does and going back, and all the games will still work on the same platform in certain ways? Because that's what they said in the video, and that got me a bit...
Full backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Groovy.
Yeah. Well, I'd expect that pretty much. I think that's one of the bullet points. Along with the tech specs that they announced, they are pretty much in line with what Sony is targeting. They're just saying, we're making that too, pretty much. Yeah. So
what I really liked, actually, was... what's the Phil Spencer?
Yep.
What I liked, he pointed out he did the opposite of the Don Matrick thing that was done with the Xbox One reveal, where he went, this is going to be the one box that you need under the telly, all of your entertainment. Yeah. Spencer's gone, we listened, we've learned, and we're putting a box that's there for games. And
you know who that was shot at?
They've got that right.
Oh yeah, they're not making that mistake again.
You know who that was shot
at? Matrick?
No, it's Stadia.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
It was a direct thing to say that, because they started off by saying for us the console is the most important thing, whereas Google is saying TV and streaming is the way forwards. They put their foot down and said they're still going to be in the console business, even though they've got xCloud. They're not looking to lose that box and make it a full service.
It's interesting. That's not what I read into it, but there we go.
Well, they point blank started out with that when they mentioned the console.
Well, they said that, but I think the mention about it being completely about the games, I think that was more of a course correction.
Yeah,
a course correction they have already made.
Oh yeah,
but just a message that they wanted to reaffirm. That this next machine will be all about the games, and that's all it's about.
We got it. We fucked up. Now we're doing it properly.
The reason why I took that kind of thing, because Google launched another little ad, another little kind of like a Google Direct or whatever. We'll call them Directs because Nintendo does it, about the Stadia, just literally a few days before.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what made me think it was a direct response to that. There's a new platform element coming onto the stage, and they're saying, we're all about the games and this, and that's it. We're going to focus. We're going to try and get everyone on board because we're going to try and make games for you. And that's what I kind of took from it a bit.
It's interesting because I think you'll be able to get an Xbox Live subscription on the Stadia eventually.
Yeah. Would they like money?
I think the streaming future was definitely... it definitely cast its shadow over the whole thing, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll get into that a bit more later on.
Oh, yeah, sorry, fair point.
Yeah. Okay,
I should have saved that amazing insight for later, shouldn't I?
Well, no, I thought it was pretty good because it was kind of like there was an element of fighting talk, even though they didn't outright, even though no one was outright squaring off, I thought it was quite a nice bit. That was one of the good moments for me.
Yeah.
Cool.
But overall, atmospherically, bit of a damp squib. None of the conferences ended, and I really went, oh, that was a really good show. Most of them, I thought, oh, okay, there's a couple of bits I'm interested in. But last year, Bethesda, despite the bullshit that Fallout 76 turned out to be in the end, and we'll talk about the changes to that in a bit, maybe, Bethesda's confidence blew me away. Conference, even. And confidence. Hey, both.
Last year.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Not
this year.
No,
This year was a
not this year.
marketing exercise.
Yeah.
They took the We Are Bethesda from last year and just ran with it.
I think there was an element of apology, at least, though, for the events of the last year. But no Fallout New Vegas remaster.
No.
Which leads us into...
Yeah, quite, indeed. No, I just wanted to quickly say, it was telling at the Bethesda conference that Todd Howard, they wheeled him out at the start rather than at the end. He was not the headliner at that conference this year at all. He was the, sorry, we're fixing it, kind of. But yeah, anyway, that actually leads me into our predictions.
Yep.
So, yeah, we made a few predictions on the last show, and
I
internal
don't remember
note here.
what I said, but I know it must have been batshit.
I know I was drunk.
I think I was one step away from having a map and string going to various locations and wearing a paper hat.
Okay, so, yeah, don't worry. I do remember because I listened back to the show yesterday. Here we go. Okay, so the first prediction was one that I made. One of my theories is that Microsoft, like any third-party stuff, like, say, maybe Cyberpunk, I think that's all going to be at the Xbox conference.
Ooh.
So, I mean, I was fairly on the money there, I think.
Ding! Bit of an easy one.
It was an easy
Just
one.
starter for 10.
Yeah, okay. So my second one was, my first bold prediction is that that Bethesda at their conference, they're going to do something with Fallout 76, and I feel like what they're going to do is kind of Trojan horse a free-to-play announcement in amongst the announcement of a shitload of updates to it. I think I got that. Yeah, I was getting there. I feel like they definitely making moves that they're going to do a free trial for the game.
Yeah, but they do that with Elder Scrolls on occasion, once, a couple of times a year, just to get people in.
Yeah, I suppose.
But going free to play is a very different thing.
Yeah, see, I just assumed they were at ground zero. Clearly, they don't think of it that way, and their data and their investment and everything. They feel there's still something there. They're going to try and turn it around.
And
they're
you know
adding
what? When the new patch comes in, I'm going to give it another go.
Yeah, it might be worth it. They're fixing all of the main issues, as in lack of single player story, lack of NPCs, and they're adding a battle royale mode, which I think might be a bridge too far.
Was it Ring of Fire?
I think they're just throwing everything at it.
Yeah, they had Johnny Cash. Well, not Johnny Cash. They had a terrible cover of a great song doing that.
Yeah. Oh, well, they have to, don't they?
Big flamey ring. That's it, yeah. No, I mean, for me, it was off-putting because of I didn't think it was worth that price, the full price game. If it had come in cheaper.
Yeah, well, now it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll probably do some kind of re-release of it, I think, once they know they've got it right or they've grown their audience. But if you want to make it, a sly investment in it now, ahead of time, you can pick it up for like £12.
I picked it up for £10 on Black Friday last year, a month after it came out.
Oh, so it's actually gone up in value, so they must have improved it slightly.
Can I just point out, I think it was a sort of semi-joking one a year ago in our post-E3 breakdown, and we said, oh yeah, you know what, Fallout 76 Battle Royale. I'm pretty certain was said, so we'll take a late ding.
Okay. All right, the next prediction I've got, unfortunately, Will.
I think we're going to see a new console. Not a new PlayStation, not a new Xbox, not a new Nintendo, but a new console.
I was just wondering if Samsung or someone might put something out, and that's a...
Yeah, unfortunately so.
Would have been fun.
So yeah, no new consoles. Although somebody made the announcement. I think the guys that made what was the game where you were going around around a forest or something? There's like a console that's been announced that's got a crank on the side, and it's going to play like these really cheap little games. I have to dig it out. But
Is it the handheld one or something?
Don't know about that.
Oh no, never mind. I'm getting confused.
But Devolver have put out a new sort of arcade cabinet for one of their games that looks $5,000 and is real. I love you, Devolver.
Yeah, they are absolutely brilliant.
What
I just saw at a conference today.
Do you know where their stand is at E3? It's in a car park over the road. They've been doing it in a car park over the road for 10 years. Because they're saying having a stall in E3 would cost 10 years worth of their marketing budget. So they just rent a parking lot over the road, and they've got air hockey tables and a bubble machine and shit.
That is amazing.
I love those guys.
I think a lot of the stuff around E3 though happens. Like some people don't consider like the EA thing officially E3, even though it's the same weekend. But I don't know.
It's all part of the celebration.
It's because unless you
Nintendo
like
Direct.
Madden, it's not.
Yeah, Nintendo Direct isn't part of E3.
No.
But they put it out around that time.
Exactly. That console is called the Playdate, and it's from app developer Panic.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very odd. I think it's like deliberately hipster and weird. So don't worry about that too much.
To be used by the sort of people that take a typewriter to the coffee shop.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly right. Okay, carrying on with predictions. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm just being like hopelessly and futilely optimistic and say that maybe Square might show that Avengers game that they are apparently working on.
Have you calmed down yet, Robert?
Breathe.
A little bit.
Breathe.
Yeah, I think the problem with the reveal of this wasn't so much that the game looked undercooked, and from a quality point of view, left a lot to be desired when you look at more recent superhero fare, as in Arkham, Spider-Man, that wasn't that long ago. It wasn't really that so much. It was the fact that the messaging was so bad. The fact that all they wanted to talk about was that, there'll be content coming for years to come. And, there'll be co-op gameplay. But what fucking gameplay? They didn't show any of it.
Nope.
So it just, I really thought it was really left a lot to be desired. The other thing that the internet's been having a lot of fun with is the fact that they, rather than kind of going their own way, like Marvel, like Insomniac did with Spider-Man, they've kind of stuck to what the Avengers look like, but they haven't used their faces. And they haven't even made an effort with the faces.
They worked with Marvel to design those Avengers based on the comic books.
Banner's completely different, isn't he? He's got like longish brown hair. So he's not Mark Ruffalo at all. The others
you're right. It's like they're not the actors paid, they're like the ones in the comic books.
Yeah.
But why does it... But this is a mystery to me. Why does it bother me in this presentation, with this project? But I looked at the Marvel Ultimate Alliance free demo on Switch and went, that looks cool, I'll play that.
Because of your blatant autism.
No, do you know what it is? It's
I suppose
it's because they're wearing the outfits, so it's almost like they're renter superheroes.
Yeah, the stunt doubles.
Yeah. Whereas in the Marvel Alliance, they're all designed from the ground up. Yeah. So they've all got like unique versions of their costumes for that.
Yeah, you're right.
And they've got the more comic booky faces.
Gear from the films with the wrong heads on.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was a unique take on the outfits...
Or even traditional Marvel-style outfits from like comics and stuff, it wouldn't have been an issue.
If they'd made it less photorealistic and done some cel-shading cool shit like Borderlands does, that'd have been fun.
Yeah.
But
hell, if they went back to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom style, that was like cartoony, the opening for that was awesome.
I think I looked at the game and I thought, that looks fun. Doesn't bother me. Thing is, I've not seen all the MCU films. I've never particularly been... I quite enjoy them. They're all right. I know I'm a bit of a Philistine in this company saying these things, but they're okay. They're a bit of a laugh.
I respect
wait for them to come onto Sky and I watch them.
Greatest cinematic achievement ever.
Apart from...
Clearly, you've never seen Bernard and the Genie.
No, I have not.
Or Long Kiss Goodbye, starring Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson.
Vicar of Dibley.
I think the other thing that makes my blood boil about all this is the fact that they basically pulled people off of Deus Ex to work on this.
Yeah.
And it's also it's the pedigree of those games and the more recent Tomb Raider games that.
Yeah, but you haven't taken one thing into account. It's the timescale and the deadline.
Apparently they've been working on this for 6 years.
They can't have, because that explains it, because it does look like a PS3 FMV.
Yeah, it does
video.
look old, yeah.
And it just reminds me of the movie tie-ins they used to make, to be honest. It feels like they've gone back a step.
I mean, they're promising like free content drops, I guess, like more and more heroes added to it. But I just think the base game, when you look at that in the wake of Endgame, like...
Do you think they've done it on purpose? Do you think they've hired the same marketing studio that did the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
I can only hope for their sakes that is the case, Marcus.
After the uproar, they'll say, okay, we'll fix the faces, and then they'll look like the people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Personally, I'm going to withhold judgment on it.
It might be really fun, though, to be honest.
Let's see some gameplay videos. Let's see some detail. The reveal trailer would have been good if they could have followed it up with gameplay. The only gameplay that has been seen, apparently, has been behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Hopefully, in a few months' time, we'll see some footage and we'll be able to make a decent decision.
I watched an unshallow stroll with the developers kind of explaining a little more about the game. Sorry, I'm not allowed to use a certain term anymore.
You mean an in-depth?
An in-depth interview.
I believe that's the phrase that is used by normal folk.
I think you don't need to specify the depth of any diving or strolling. You just say interview.
Yeah.
I think it's a...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well they have on the... they have like these Colosseum interviews on the Game Slice channel. And they've been popping up a bit throughout the week. They're really good. I just watched one with the head honcho at CD Projekt.
Yeah.
And my God, I just have so much love for that company. I cannot explain it. But anyway, we'll get there. Moving on, predictions-wise, there's only a few more of these, so don't worry. The next one was from Marcus.
I saw a rumour about a game, and it was linked to an author of a show that's recently come to an end. George R. R. Martin teaming up with
From Software, yeah.
I'm more thinking this might be a backdoor way of announcing Bloodborne 2. Yeah, I didn't specify which year.
No, we did get some
I'm going to
news.
keep saying that every year, and someday, like Starship Troopers, I'll win.
Well, that's what Rob did with Avengers, to be fair.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's true.
And look how that came out.
I know.
I think
careful
we
what
might
you wish
see,
for.
We won't see Bloodborne 2 because there was no Sony. But I think we might see a Bloodborne 2 tease at a Direct or State of Play.
Yeah, we did get news on another game from that studio, though, didn't we? I'm
Yes,
saying that studio
From
because
Software. Yep.
From Software, correct. They've got a project.
What was it called?
That you
Celestial
did mention
Hammer
this.
or something weird like that?
The George R. R. Martin collaboration, which I did kind of sort of my prediction.
It did have a name. They gave it a name.
Oh, they
They
did.
did.
Yeah.
I have the name in front of me. It is Elden Ring,
That's it.
whatever that might mean.
Because Elder Scrolls is already taken.
Oh, I suppose, yeah. They could probably be taken to court for that if there's only one letter difference. They do like to litigate
Elder
that,
Ring Scrolls. It's like...
Anyway, so yeah, there was some presence from Software, but not the presence we were looking for.
My trouble with any From Software game, unless this is has difficulty settings, even with the George Martin collaboration, which interests me a bit.
Yeah,
I'd rather he was writing Game of Thrones. Song of Ice and Fire. But it's going to be too rock hard and impenetrable for me. So
Yeah,
on we go.
especially if they go back to the way the books were. It's like you'll be walking along suddenly, and then your character will just get shot in the head by someone you'll just die. Like,
Can you
Yeah, I
imagine
think-
a scenario where your character can die and you just switch characters and carry on?
oh, if only someone did that.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be such a good idea.
Any more predictions left for me, Rob?
Yeah, the next one was from you. Yep.
And there are some rumours supporting this. Only rumours. I'm expecting Fallout New Vegas remastered.
That wasn't
And
the
you-
thing I was thinking.
And you also had another one.
So is
That's
it
it.
time to see something of Starfield? Because we know Starfield is going to come out before Elder Scrolls 6. So I'm wondering if we'll actually get some detail on what the hell that's all about.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
There was a prediction between myself and you, Will. I've got some Ubi predictions.
Well, Watch Dogs 3 will be set in London, because that's not a prediction, to be honest. To me, that's fact.
Yeah, that's true. Also, fact, they'll be showing something of the new Ghost Recon Breakpoint game that they recently announced, the follow-up to Wildlands. That's definitely going to have some time on their stage. And also, apparently, one of the developers working on the new Splinter Cell game made a tweet saying that he was working on the new Splinter Cell game, which then got taken down.
We saw Sam Fisher, though.
Yeah, some sort of mobile
it's
game,
some sort of
was it?
mobile tactics game. It looks shite. I'll never, ever touch it. But it had Sam Fisher in it, so we were semi-right, just not very.
Yeah, they also almost stole E3 with a presentation made by a well-known Hollywood actor who announced his inclusion in the game. But yeah, we'll get to that later. I think I was doing, but less about John Bernthal. Sorry, yeah. So Watch Dogs. Let's talk Watch Dogs because yeah, they made a really impressive debut for that. I thought.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs Legion.
Yes, so not
Yes.
Watch Dogs 3, Watch Dogs Legion. They're doing. I think I mentioned this couple of episodes ago. Like the Assassin's Creed, they've stopped numbering it. They're just putting a tagline on.
Sneakily, they did.
Did
The
they?
E of Legion. It's 3 bars.
Ooh, like
Done
it.
in the Japanese style with the two, yeah.
Oh,
well,
I
slightly.
didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
Subtle.
But it means that you can play Watch Dogs Legion without having played Watch Dogs 1 or 2. Which is the clear message.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, apparently, even podcast episodes now, it's not a good idea to put the episode number on because it means people are less likely to
Okay.
to listen.
So this
if
is...
they haven't listened to all the ones before. Yet we're on episode 190. Fuck knows now.
Or,
Well,
as we
let's
call
hold
it,
it.
the undiscovered podcast.
It's the whole madness of King George III, isn't it? When where it bombed because people in the States hadn't seen Madness of King George 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Watch Dogs Legion looks wicked. The rumours that you could play as anyone seem to be true.
And that's a hell of a mechanic. That looks...
That's amazing.
If they pull that off...
Do you know what the best part of that reveal trailer for me was? The old granny.
Oh, yeah.
Where she was going
Helen.
around. The bit where she was climbing over the banister and clearly struggling. At that point, I was sold. I was like, I'm going to have an
the
army.
security railing to get out. Yeah. But the fact that she's like an ex-spy contract killer professional. But what fascinates me, if they're saying literally anyone on the street you can pick up and play, and they're all individually voiced and they've all got the dialogue, the sheer amount of effort that must have gone into that, you're going to get to the point where you can swap characters and they've got the same voices. It's going to happen.
I reckon to me, it seemed very similar to Shadow of Mordor, what they did with that, because they did manage, I think I might have heard a little bit of overlap there, but I think it's on a similar scale where, I mean, they're going into more like where apparently like all of each character that you can control has got family that will apparently mourn you and go to visit your grave should they perma-die, which is nuts. And also like, it can create ripple effects. Like you might, there might be two people in an altercation, I heard. And if you decide to recruit one of them, that will then, create ripples, around the one that you didn't recruit.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
for some reason. Like, so it can cause all those sorts of issues. So yeah, it is to me the most similar thing to Shadow of Mordor I've seen before, where it's sort of procedural. There's obviously a lot of dialogue they've had to can. And yeah, it's just a giant database, isn't it, of options that you can
the voice is
interact
being
with.
associated. This is the trick. If it's fully voiced for each character you play, because you think how much dialogue you get on a standard one. Now, they'll probably get monosyllabic responses from the people you're playing. Perhaps a lot of the dialogue will be given by the voice in your ear. That'll be a way around it. But they're going to have to have recorded a hell of a lot of dialogue for a lot of different characters.
They might have done something procedural with like the pitch of the voice as well, maybe. So they can probably take like 5 Caucasian male, 20 to 30 voices.
Take them through the scales.
And then push them through pitch a bit and adjust it. Like maybe they're doing some mad shit like that to give it the illusion
they did that in
they are
Dragon's
different
Dogma.
Voices.
In
Did they?
Dragon's Dogma,
they did,
the pawns, you could adjust the pitch of the voice. Thinking about it, I'm sure. So,
Hello!
You'd make a massive pawn, like top height, top bulk, and you give it the high pitched voice. I'm sure. Although I could just be imagining this. Who can say?
I think you're right on that, though. Actually, I think you could change the voice a bit.
I think so. So it's a good shout. It would reduce the number of voice actors overall.
Yeah, it's just, I've just been pondering it while I've just been in a sort of fog.
I'm
of
loving
E3 this week.
the political kind of side of it. It's even though it's shaped by current proceedings, it has a kind of V for Vendetta feel as well.
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
Dystopian London.
So it's kind
definitely.
of like a nice way of doing that. I'm loving the idea of trying to unfuck London and like everywhere else around it. And what was the name of the AI? Bagley, I think. Which is it was the AI that you get that talks to you.
I didn't notice it was an AI, to be honest.
Oh, there's a voice. It's almost like Jarvis, like Paul Bettamy's Jarvis.
I heard the voice, I just didn't realise it was an AI.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like when the first character died, and you saw the permadeath thing come up, and it jumped to Helen.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, speaking of death, did you hear about what happened to John? And she's like, oh, for Christ's sake, Bagley, too soon. So clearly you're talking to someone who's linked to all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll find out. We'll get more detail when we play the game.
That's what made me laugh. That's why I started making notes. I thought, bloody hell, there's a lot going on there.
But the other thing that actually was obviously us all having worked around London all our lives, seeing that shot, particularly the bridge at Camden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just went, oh my God, I know that place, and it looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
But even more dystopian than the bridge at Camden looks already.
Yes.
That was cool.
Yes. It definitely the idea of playing in your backyard really appeals. I had a little bit of a sniff of that when I was playing Syndicate, but obviously this is a lot more contemporary setting, and now
the Piccadilly Circus is relatable, and you've got the current London buses, haven't you? The new route masters going round and stuff.
But think how big it might be, because Camden's a long way away from a lot of the famous
there's a quick
bits in
travel
London.
to certain areas.
No, it's going to be a whole map.
No,
that's true.
The quick travel is the resistance network that you have.
Yeah, you swap characters. You fast travel to a resistance member.
So if you want to go if you've got a mission in Camden, you call up your mate, your operative in Camden, and they do the mission.
Okay.
But the other thing is as well, when you recruit people, you can look into their history and see, like, we don't want to have him as an enforcer because he's got priors. He's going to be on the police database. He's no good. So you can go into all that. And then once you've done that, you can then give them a class. There's 3 classes. There's like stealth, hacking, and offense or something.
Do you know how I think you get around that? Because I did notice when they did the multi-grid thing, one of them was a Bobby.
Yeah.
Beat cop.
Oh, yeah. So that might give you access.
So cool.
They're saying it could be anyone, because I quite like the idea. I want to fast travel to the city. Well, I shall become Norman, the venture capitalist.
Absolutely, yeah. And I wonder if
Top
they didn't
skills,
say any.
cocaine tolerance.
They didn't mention anything about like the invasion stuff, which was in the first 2 games, did they?
Oh, it has to be there. The best, the invasion stuff's the best fun.
Yeah.
The whole PvP, I'm not normally a big fan of, but in Watchdogs, just to kind of go, you know what? I just fancy hacking someone to annoy the shit out of them, hiding behind a wall, basically giggling while they frantically try and search for me. It's the best game of hide and seek you can do.
Yeah. Well, I've pre-ordered it, so
I'm gonna.
roll on March.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's
Seriously.
out March 6th, I think.
So, This was the prediction subject still, wasn't it? Have we got any more predictions, or was that the last?
I can. Are there any worth mentioning? Marcus mentioned something about Dragon Ball. There was definitely something Dragon Ball related there.
Yeah, move on. I'm disappointed.
Will wanted to see more of the Outer Worlds. We got a release date and a trailer.
Yes, and the trailer looks amazing. It's the Fallout game I wanted last year.
Ditto.
Yeah.
It's going to be the one I play at the end of this year, I think.
More Fallout than Fallout.
I'm actually relieved to an extent that Watchdogs isn't coming out till next year, because it gives me a no-brainer in that particular pre-Christmas release window. Because I think that's going to be a good couple of months worth of play in that game.
Yeah,
I would imagine so. Knowing Obsidian, definitely. Will wanted Dancing Pandas.
We got the Dancing Pandas.
They didn't open, but
not
they
in the
definitely
forefront.
showed up.
Yeah, not in the forefront, but it was there. I will probably treat my kids to Just Dance 2019 this Christmas. Because if I buy the one that's a year older, it's a cockload cheaper. I got them 2018 this year. They could have 2019 at the end of the year.
Nice. Good stuff. And Marcus, I won't mention... Oh, well... Okay, I won't mention the prediction about GTA 6, because that was never going to happen. But,
to be honest, we were all hopeful. So any one of those things could have happened.
I think Watch Dogs will do for now. But you were spot on about Final Fantasy VII. That didn't get quite the coming out party.
Bloody show something.
And the release date!
Yeah.
Yep.
On 2
pre-ordering
Blu-ray
it now.
discs. 2 Blu-rays for the first part.
Yeah, but bearing in mind, the original game was 3 discs.
Oh, I know, but this is
So they've split it by a third.
bonkers, dude.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll get to that bit when we talk about games.
Yeah, it does look good.
Sure. Okay. So, and the release date for that, I believe, is the same week as Watch Dogs. It's like the Monday or Tuesday, and Watch Dogs is the Friday. So, yeah.
Going to be running around London and Midgar.
You're gonna need some time off, dude.
Midgar town.
It's the only way I'm going to cope with the other thing. But, at the end of our predictions, we made some, brief sort of like what we thought it would be the year of. I said, I think it's either going to be the year of, the new consoles being announced and everyone getting into a froth about that.
Well, that's guaranteed. Come on, something more interesting. Come on.
Okay, well then I just cast my BDI over what games are actually in development for 2020. And the two that jump out to me are the remake of System Shock and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Oh, yes.
Both of which are first-person immersive sims with, those kind of emergent gameplay. So it looks like we might be having a little bit of a renaissance of the old immersive sim genre. Well, the new consoles will probably come out that year.
Microsoft
next year.
are putting out a new flight simulator game.
Well, yeah, that's not the kind of immersive sim I was thinking. I was thinking more like Watchdogs, kind of Cyberpunk, kind of...
Actually, it's dystopian future is coming out of those two.
Yeah, or like just sci-fi RPGs, really, or contemporary RPGs. Those seem to be like you've got like from October. I'll be playing Outer Worlds, maybe Bloodlines if I can fit it in, which is again that's vampires, but it's contemporary and it's an immersive sim. Just early 2020.
Fair enough. Oh, you know when it's going to be, don't you?
Oh, yeah, fuck knows. And then it's Watch Dogs, and then straight into Cyberpunk, which got a release date, which I really wasn't expecting. And I'm so happy, and it absolutely made my show.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that, I would just say it now, that Keanu Reeves is in the game and was there on stage.
Spoilers?
Saying it. Fuck me. That was just
I
far and
lost
away.
my shit when that happened.
I fucking lost my shit, man. I was just like, oh my god, like you couldn't make me want this game anymore.
Do you know what? That had the same effect on me than when, about 1 billion years ago, when Square did say they were doing a remake of 7.
Right, okay. I can appreciate...
You know how much it means to me, so the equivalent scale. I lost...
they're making a remake? That's the same as Keanu being in Cyberpunk? I don't get the correlation.
No, I said... When they announced they were doing a remake years ago, of this game, so I get to play a game that is possibly second or
played
first
before.
favourite game ever, and not as a
again,
PS1 pixelated game.
They're rebuilding. They've rebuilt.
They're
from scratch.
rebuilding,
They've
like
added
Resi
entirely
2.
new-
It's like Resi 2 reimagined.
Yeah, it's an entirely different game with.
Oh
the same
well,
plot.
okay. To each their own. I just can't
No,
process
but I
that.
said, well, the point I was trying to make was that I lost my shit when Keanu came on, as much as that.
Right. Okay.
I just thought the beautiful moment was the Eurogamer article that pointed out that I was talking about the influencers and the people shouting shit because they're morons, but the guy who shouted out "You're breathtaking" to
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, and
That was
CD
brilliant.
Projekt Red just gave him just given him a
He had
gratis copy
such
of
charm.
2077 when it's
Well,
out.
no, he said you're breathtaking, and then said you're all breathtaking to the whole world, and then the CD Projekt got in touch with the guy that did the heckling, and offered him a free copy of the game, and the guy said no, give it to charity. So just love is all
no,
around.
that's cool.
Everything is right with the world.
Yeah.
It's all gonna be fine.
Except Brexit will put us in Watchdogs.
But it won't matter because I'll be too busy in cyberspace with Keanu Reeves.
Awesome. Oh, remind me, what was my prediction, Rob, for what this will be the year of?
Randomly, I'm going to go for Year of the Samurai/Ninja.
Looks like the code sign for the character in Cyberpunk is called Samurai.
Yeah.
So maybe...
Yeah, that wasn't really what I was guessing at, though, was it? Yeah.
No.
Hang on.
And Marcus predicted more...
Well, to be honest, I kind of went with the year of reimagined games as opposed to necessarily remakes.
remakes, which
Yeah.
is definitely happening if the Square press conference is anything to go by.
Yep.
Well, it wasn't just Square, also Nintendo.
The-
They're putting
remakes,
out
yeah.
Majora's
Legend of
Mask, is
Zelda,
that something?
Link's Awakening.
Although Zelda 2 was a surprise.
Yeah.
Not Zelda 2, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What's the...
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
to
Breath
the
of the
teaser.
Wild. You see, I didn't
Yeah.
like Breath of the Wild, so apparently I'm a Philistine, but
No,
yeah, not that bothered.
It's your choice, isn't it? It's cool.
That's it.
Fair enough. Yeah, so that's kind of all of our predictions, really. So we can move on, if you like, into our games of the conference. I think we've probably mentioned some of them already.
Yeah, I can't wait for Avengers.
Marcus, do you wanna kick off? with
Games of the conference.
Yeah.
Well,
like
it's got to
any-
be
like-
Watchdogs. It's got to be Cyberpunk 2077.
hell yeah! I mean, we didn't see much more of Cyberpunk, but I know
I saw a different part of the story though, like
Yeah,
a
it was
different
an
angle. Because
FMV,
the first
though.
time we
gameplay.
saw, but the first time we saw, the first bit was when the person was there, and it was walking through how you can change the person and add the augments and all that. And the second one was it was a guy meeting someone in a car, and there was like a driving part and everything else. That was last E3, and so we saw a
there
bit
is-
more story in this one.
this was more of a cutscene kind of thing, but they are apparently showing more stuff behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And they'll probably put that out in a few weeks.
Yeah,
would
I
imagine.
don't doubt that. I've been looking at some of the articles on that, and the gameplay is sounding good, really good. I don't want to get too excited about it because it looks like an excellent game. I've got a lot of time for CDPR, but they've still got plenty of time to put a foot wrong and do something horrible. And the other thing, so the conversation we were having on our little podcast chat, which is an interesting thing, is I don't know whether to wait. I'm going to have to. I don't want to pre-order 2077 because if the PlayStation 5 is, if Sony decide to steal a march on Microsoft and get a couple of months leeway and get that console out sooner, the question becomes a game that looks that graphically beautiful and enthralling. I've got a PlayStation Pro, but might it be even more amazing experience to wait a few months, a couple of months, and play it on the PS5? And I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait.
Yeah, I'm pretty much not going to be able to wait.
Yes.
I did this. Yeah, I don't think there's a game that I've been this excited about since I just maybe The Witcher, and I couldn't wait for that. I think I bought a new video card to play that day one. which is what I might do if it comes to it, because it's not going to be any better than a top of the range PC, is it? Whatever the new consoles are. So that's one way of dealing with that.
Upgrade your PC.
Dilemma.
Yeah, not a bad shout.
Or play it on Stadia, where it'll be the absolute all bells, whistles, everything.
Is it announced for Stadia? Genuine question.
It has not been announced for Stadia yet.
It would have been announced for Stadia. If Stadia had a tool of an opportunity, they would have announced it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I suppose as an indie developer, it's entirely up to them, isn't it, whether they bother with it or not? But it's who knows? By then, it may be announced for that.
I'm sure it'll get there. I'm sure it'll get there, actually. I mean, it's Google's money. Google are not afraid to throw a few quid at things.
No, that's very true. Okay, what else we got then, games-wise? I made a list, I'm pretty sure.
Have you done all yours, Marcus?
Adventure Time Brawlhalla.
Oh, God.
No.
That was a thing.
Quite a cute take on, well, obviously Smash Brothers has been doing gangbusters, as people say, for fucking years. So I thought other people are trying to get back in on it. I think Sony had one before, or someone else had one a while ago. Like All-Stars or something like that. Brawl Stars for a while.
PlayStation Battle Royale All-Stars. It was
something like that. But yeah, no, I thought that was quite cute and quite fun. Good to see Adventure Time coming back from Limbo or wherever it's been. But yeah, no, to be honest, I've just got those few games.
Yeah, I didn't mind the look of the Jedi Fallen Order game. I watched the demo of that live. I thought EA were actually quite considerate by just giving you actual proper dates and times of when they would be showing each game, so you could tune in for half an hour, then fuck off when they started talking about FIFA and Madden or whatever. So yeah, they showed Jedi Fallen Order first. It was like a 15-minute gameplay demo, actual gameplay they showed. It looked a little bit on the bland side, but I quite liked some of the stuff you could do. They showed off the one of the abilities you can do is you can slow blaster bolts coming down at you.
Yeah, the Kylo Force thing,
like
isn't
what
it?
Kylo does in the beginning of Force Awakens. And then what you can do is you can then move a stormtrooper around apparently and make it fire at them using the Force, which sounds quite fun.
That feels quite Dishonored to me. And
yeah, I did a bit of that in Dishonored for sure.
Corvo's time-stopping skills, and you can hit the bullets and that sort of stuff. That's fun.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of wall running, which is straight out of Titanfall 2.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And apparently there's a Metroidvania aspect to it where you'll be going around to different planets and revisiting them and exploring them in different ways. Stig, the guy who's in charge of development, he was asked about the length of the game, and he said it's quite a worthwhile game. He said it's not a 5-hour campaign, which is kind of what Titanfall 2 was. But at the same time, that's not really the kind of value for money we're really used to. They're asking 60 quid for this or whatever. A 10-hour game is going to seem a little bit on the slim side. So I'd expect something around the 20-hour mark. Stig, the guy who's working on this, he previously worked on God of War 3.
Yeah.
So I imagine it'll be that sort of size. So yeah, I'm quite interested in that. It's out in November. That's the only other game that I'm likely to get before Christmas, if I do. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so not like game of the session, but one I'm still excited for and looking forward to more is Borderlands 3. There wasn't an awful lot more shown about it, but just a thing I'm looking forward to, so I thought I'd mention it. In the Bethesda conference, they also showed Wolfenstein Youngblood, went a bit more into that. They certainly did. That's looking like some more Nazi killing, 80s music, kitsch, fun stuff. My real problem with that is it feels like the sort of game I need to sit down on the sofa with someone and play split screen co-op with. But my wife,
I was thinking that.
My wife and children just aren't going to do that.
Well, it's coming out on Switch. So I don't know if you can hang on. I might be able to join you there.
Okay.
You get it on that.
I
know
might
it's not
be
really the kind of game you're going to get on Switch, though, is it? You'll get it on a
Well, I think it's
higher
you want to chuck
fidelity
it up on
machine.
the telly, don't you?
Yeah.
But we can see if we can come up with some plans. Even if it's just have the odd Wolfenstein and beer night, I think could be fun. Because it's not a long campaign. It's also not a full price game, which I think is quite interesting.
Oh, wow.
Apparently,
okay.
I haven't seen the actual prices, but I'm thinking rather than a 60 quid coming out, it's going to be a 40 quid coming out or something like that. I did read that it's cheaper than most, probably a shorter campaign. But actually, as a couch co-op game, you don't want a 60-hour campaign there.
No.
To be able to do a few 2-hour sessions with a mate swilling beer and shooting Nazis sounds like a genuine pleasure to me.
Absolutely.
Doom Eternal's looking very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Looking like more Doom, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I'm interested in playing more Doom. Doom was very fun, but I think in terms of it's not really gonna. I can't really prioritise it over all the shiny new stuff that's coming out.
Exactly that. It's more of the same, bigger, better, all of that. But Watchdogs for me is throwing in a whole new formula, something genuinely interesting, which is why that's interesting. Outer Worlds is something interesting and new and entirely new IP. That's why that's exciting. 2077, new IP, genuinely looks fascinating from a trusted developer. That's why that's interesting. Was there another one on a general consensus? But we're not talking. Even though Watch Dogs is a sequel, it's got a totally new gameplay mechanic. It's doing something new and cool.
I was happy there was lots of new stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing. It's new IPs or new ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like new idea type things, there were a couple of things that I noticed a little bit of a trend forming. They haven't really announced like explicit details, but there's a game called 12 Minutes that was at the Microsoft conference that's kind of quite an interesting sort of adventure game where it's got like a top-down perspective. And then at the Bethesda conference, Arcane announced a new game called Death Loop.
Oh, yes.
Now,
that I did mean to mention. Good call.
Yeah, which both of those games sounded to me like they might have a bit of a Groundhog Day element to them.
Yeah.
You know, as in
You need to solve the mystery to escape the loop.
live, die, repeat kind of thing.
And a bit like that film Russian Doll.
Yeah.
I prefer Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the origin of it. But I mean, the whole idea really is very video gaming. But they're sort of just taking it literally and spinning it off in two very different ways. Annapurna, actually, very interesting publisher. They're an arm of a movie studio that do like weird horror stuff. And they had a couple of games there. I can't remember the other. Oh, the other one, I think, was the follow-up to Her Story, called Telling Lies, which features the actor Logan Marshall Green.
I did play a bit of Her Story. I got bored.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that was kind of...
it was an experimental.
Yeah, it was more of like an experience kind of thing where there was no like win condition. It was really down to you to watch and cross-reference as much of it as possible to come to your own conclusion.
The conclusion I came to was that I was bored and didn't care.
Yeah, they've described this one as like an open world version of that, in that they've just basically quadrupled the amount of acting and actors in it.
I don't know if the sound of my forehead came across on the microphone, to my hand hitting my forehead came across, but open world, one of those. I'll do it properly.
Well done.
That hurt.
Did you watch any of the PC gaming show?
No, but apparently they only used the right words for people of various ethnicities and didn't upset anyone at all. That was the aim of the PC?
That was it, yeah. For
it's
2
the PC
hours
brigade,
long,
yeah.
It was as well, yeah. Yeah, there are a couple of notable things there. The first one that I think might interest you, Will, is this game called Midnight Ghost Hunt, which is basically Ghostbusters without the license.
Bring it.
And it's like, I think it looks like a bit of an asymmetric where you've got ghosts versus... It might not be asymmetric at all, actually. I think it's just ghost versus ghost hunters.
I am not afraid of any ghosts.
Yeah, with their contraptions, and they mustn't cross the beams.
What's that? Who am I going to phone on the telephone?
Absolutely. Who are you going to get in contact with? And so, it looked a bit like Prey because you can possess bits of furniture. So I think the ghosts aren't actually trying...
I possess several bits of furniture, personally.
Sorry.
Sorry, check your inventory, sofa.
I think it seemed asymmetrical to me in that I don't think the ghosts are there to kill the Ghostbusters. They're just
Hunters.
Sorry, the Ghost Hunters trademark.
I wish I'd seen it just for the entertainment value. I might look it up. What's it called again?
Yeah, look it up. Midnight Ghost Hunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I thought I did think of you, Will, when I watched it. I'm like, oh man, he's been banging on about them making a Ghostbusters game. And someone's made it, but it's not official. There was another announcement for a game, because the PC Gaming Show, it's quite hilarious to watch it just in terms of how sort of stupid it is and cheap it is, maybe? That's a bit unfair, maybe? I don't know. But they just show game after game, and it's kind of relentless. But they had this one game called Conan Chop Chop.
Oh, I saw that. It's the cutesy Conan the Barbarian game.
Yes. And they did it, they announced it on April Fool's Day, and everyone just assumed it was an April Fool.
Is it a problem that Conan doesn't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I think in this context it's allowed.
Okay.
But yeah, they announced it as an April Fool, but little did they know that it was a double April Fool, and that it really is a game.
That's Devolver-esque, that is.
Yeah, I know. It's verging on that Python-esque ridiculousness. They also showed Maneater again, the Shark RPG.
Oh, the Shark RPG, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's still in development. They said that the story's going to be delivered via a reality show.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting.
I'm just thinking, so there was a game at E3 last year that I think was an Ubisoft one. And actually, I've just remembered an Ubisoft game that I found interesting. Something about gods, which looked kind of cool, but that's as much mentioned as it'll get because I can't remember the details.
Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, that's the bunny. That looks quite interesting. That's out next year in the bad window. But I'll be keeping an eye on that. But there was a game last year, you just put it in mind, and I think it was in the Ubisoft conference, but it might have been under... No, it can't have been Sony. It was French developer dude, and it was all about, the rise of
the
mankind.
Monkeys?
I don't think so. It was like Rise...
Is it Ancestors?
Might have been. I thought it was something to do with dreams, or...
Oh.
No. I really should have done some research, shouldn't I? Or kept
it's all right. That's what I'm here for. They had Ancestors at the PC Gaming Show, which now has a release date of August 27th.
Oh, okay.
I think that's on PC and Switch, maybe. But that's...
Did someone just change your voice modulation so you were a different character in Watchdogs?
No, It was my... I might be right kind of pitch. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Damn.
Yeah, sorry. They showed 30 games in 2 hours at the PC Gaming Show, as opposed to Microsoft's 60 games in 1 hour or whatever. But anyway, they briefly showed Vampire Bloodlines. I'm very interested in this game. I have to say though, I am very worried at the turnaround on this, and I think it's probably not going to be of the sort of AAA.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be of the quality of the original, but I don't think that
is fine still, right? We don't have these days. It's indie or AAA, and we used to have so many A class games or double A class games. I think the Outer Worlds, for example, we should treat as a AA and expect not the ultimate polishedness, but a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I'm still thinking a little more of that. Really, it comes down to how much money are they asking for. If they're asking for 60 quid, I expect 60 quid of game. I don't care. I'm not making concessions because you haven't got the budget.
Yeah,
it should scale up.
Yeah, a 35, 40 quid game, you get your 35, 40 quid's worth. A game that comes out at 12 quid, your expectations are lower.
Yeah, if Vampire Bloodlines comes out at 40... then I'll be like, okay, expectations adjusted.
Yeah.
But if they're asking for 60 quid, then I expect 60 quid worth of game.
I think that was the thing I liked with the last Far Cry, the New Dawn. The fact is, Ubisoft could have put it out as a full price game, but I picked it up. I think they put it out as $39.99. I picked it up 35 quid new. That's the right way to do it.
Definitely. They showed Shenmue 3, which I sort of am contractually obliged to be kind to, but I have to say, I think it'll be fine for people that want more Shenmue, as long as what they are expecting is a game of similar graphical and presentational standards to the original, which came out about 20 years ago. So, that's all I'm really going to say on the matter. It's not owned by us anymore. They lost the publishing to it, but they put the first two out recently.
Oh, you mean Sega?
Yes.
I say, when you say us, I didn't know I had a share in it.
No.
Sorry. No, the company that pays my wages. They announced a versus mode for Vermintide 2, which whatever. Quite like the first one. And the only other thing that I think is worth mentioning from that PC gaming show is that Baldur's Gate 3 was there making a presence, which I'm very excited about.
Oh yes, sorry, that is actually one of those ones that should have been my list of excitements, but I just forgot about it in the excitement.
Yeah, that's it. It's easily done.
And it's only because Larian are doing it.
Yeah.
Right, Larian right now haven't put a foot wrong. So
Yeah. Well, apparently they pitched for it after they'd made the first Divinity Original Sin, and Wizards of the Coast were a bit, don't know, you're not really AAA enough for us. So, meanwhile, Divinity did really well, and the sequel did really well.
The sequel was getting 10 out of 10 across the fucking board.
Oh yeah, I think they clearly the premier developer when it comes to that style of game.
Absolutely. Who used to, ironically, be at one point. Oh, who are the guys that put out Anthem? BioWare. Yeah. Which is
they've been unseated, well and truly.
Horribly so, but I think that was with a lot of help from EA to unseat them, ironically.
Yeah, and really talented European developers with lots of passion and the right attitude, and not being ruled by horrible
dirty
big companies.
Corporate publishers.
That's it, yeah.
Who publishes the Larian stuff? Are they self-published?
They are self-published, I believe.
CD Projekt Red.
Well, I might see. Interestingly, I just got a note from Namco Bandai. I must be on a list, and I just got a message from their PR about Cyberpunk. So they are handling their PR, I think, and maybe some of their publishing, like hard copy.
Namco Bandai, yes.
Maybe with the distribution, because I know they're very much about publishing their own. They started as a publisher before they had the software. Well, pirate publisher, I believe.
Maybe they're looking to actually put this absolutely everywhere, and by teaming up with Bandai Namco, they're
worldwide
looking at the Far East as well.
Could be an element of that, yeah.
Yeah, I think they might be helping them out. But CD Projekt are like probably the biggest independent developer. They're nearly 1,000 people strong now, which they kind of have to be making the quality of game that they are making.
Yeah.
They're
Polish, they're hardworking. What can I say?
That's right, yeah.
I'm quarter Polish, which means I work hard quarter of the time.
Nice. Baldur's Gate 3. So did you play the first two ever? Back in the day?
I've dabbled. I never finished, but I did play. I got into that kind of gaming around the Icewind Dale time. So it was post Baldur's Gate, so it would have been going back. I did have a go, but I never really got into it. But I do appreciate that Larian are doing it. Baldur's Gate is regarded as a fantastic property, and the fact that this is basically Dungeons and Dragon rules gets me quite wet.
Yeah, me too. Because this is 5th edition D&D, which is the actual D&D that I have been playing, the actual pen and paper stuff. So I'm quite familiar with the rules, and the possibilities for character creation and stuff is pretty awesome. So what they're working very closely with Wizards of the Coast to make this a very accurate translation of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. But at the same time, I think Larian are going to be able to put their spin on it. So yeah, you'll be able to cast a fireball, but they'll have all their, elemental physics going on with it as well.
But it's also the stories that they will write. You'll be able to do things any way you want to.
Yeah, that's what's really enticing. There's no release date on this. It's probably going to be a while, I think, before we see this. Is there anything else that anyone wants to mention about E3 before we move on?
Well, I think that something that's impressing me and baffling and surprising me is the fact that The Witcher 3 is getting ported to the Nintendo Switch along with a load of other games. But Witcher 3, just a case of how. I think if that turns out to be at all workable, unfortunately, I've played The Witcher 3 through twice, and I'm quite a completionist, so I pretty much did every single quest. I can't see myself touching it, particularly when I already own it on PlayStation 4.
No.
But, God, anyone who's got a Switch and hasn't played The Witcher 3 should purchase it.
Well, it's just a market there that they need to add,
I do like the fact that Nintendo seem to be getting some third-party games
That's it.
on it, and they're correcting the mistakes they made with the Wii and the Wii U.
Yeah. Although they're all subject to Nintendo tax. God.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but Bethesda are all over it. Doom Eternal's going on there.
Wolfenstein Youngblood, yep.
Yeah, Wolfenstein's on there. They announced Resident Evil 5 and 6 is going on there.
Yeah. God, that reminds me. I did have a slight gripe with 5. Because they showed the split screen element, and when it came out on the PS3, it had these horrible misaligned sections and borders all around it, and it seems like they've literally just ported it onto it, and it's still got that. Why didn't they just make them full screen width at the side?
Weird.
Yeah,
don't know. That's annoying. I have a couple of other observations about E3. First one was, well done, Double Fine, on getting snapped up by Microsoft. This is good news because they've been floundering a little before they did their crowdfunder for the new Psychonauts sequel. And that's looking pretty good, pretty Psychonauts. But the thing was, the problem with Double Fine was, before that, they had a number of pretty sizable big games that had just tanked, and they were really in danger of having to shut shop. So hopefully being owned by Microsoft allows them to take a few more risks, and hopefully not just pump out endless sequels.
I must admit,
to Psychonauts.
I'm hoping that Microsoft bought the studios that they bought to allow the studios to do the things they do. That's the only concern. Yeah. But if Microsoft basically say, we brought you in to do your own thing, we're just going to help you funding-wise, then that's brilliant. If they're going to do what EA did, which is force studios that were really good at a specific thing to do...
Lots of it, yeah.
Well, no, to do something entirely different. You take... oh, Christ, Dragon Age, guys, BioWare. So you take that, it's Dragon Age 1, we really, really liked that. So we want you to take that, do it a lot faster, a lot cheaper. You'll have to reuse some assets and turn it into an arcade game, by the way. We want... and the DLC, yeah. It's going to have DLC. One of those characters that you've built, just lock that behind a paywall. Microsoft start behaving like that, we're in trouble. But I don't think they will.
Hopefully not.
There was one other quick thing. I don't know if it was on the Microsoft one, but it was the Blair Witch game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember seeing that.
Yeah, that was on
freaky.
Microsoft.
That's, I was going to mention that. That's made by the same team, Bloober. I think they're Polish, and they're the guys that made a game called Observer, which I played last year, which was quite cool, where you were it had Rutger Hauer doing the main voice on it, and you were it was like a cyberpunk game. So they're pretty good at their horror stuff, so it will definitely be scary. So I don't know if I'll play it on that basis.
It was quite funny because I when it came to the bit where it was I was like, oh, this is a bit creepy. Don't know what I feel about this. And it was the guy standing in the corner. I went, oh, that's a bit Blair Witch. And it zoomed out the forest and it was the symbol. And I went, it is Blair Witch.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I think some people were disappointed that it wasn't Outlast 3 or whatever.
Yeah. But it could just be as
Fuck
scary,
those
to be
games.
honest.
Yeah, fuck those games. Lasted about 10 minutes.
Got one
It's-
more quick mention of a game. And it's a game that came out already, but it was more like an announcement. It was on the Nintendo one, Nintendo Direct. Smash Brothers. I can't play the game because there's only two of us. And it doesn't work. It's like a multiplayer brawl sort of thing. This game is astounding me in the amount of guest characters it appears to be having. Because they announced Banjo-Kazooie in addition to it.
But what does that mean?
It's a Nintendo game, but it has characters from Sega games, Sony games, Capcom games. It like 5, 6, 7 different publishers, and how the fuck did they get that through?
It's like the Ready Player One of video games.
It's mental. Regardless of what you think about the game, the concept
Have all your
of it,
pop culture in your face.
But that's the thing, and Pokemon as well. It's like the concept of how they managed to get this through. The legal paper for it must be absolutely astounding. There must be a room somewhere, like Scrooge McDuck's money bin with just contracts. Anyway,
it's probably done the same way that Spider-Man's in the MCU, something like that.
Probably.
Yeah, I was going to mention on the back of the whole Microsoft buying studios, they announced the next game by Ninja Theory called Bleeding Edge.
Oh,
I was a little bit.
Yeah.
I was a little bit meh about this because to me it just looked like a bit of a Overwatch wannabe.
Melee Overwatch, but it's melee only, which makes it interesting, worth an eye.
Yeah, I think those melee games can be quite amusing. I know there's one on PC that's supposed to be hilarious where you're playing as knights and throwing chicken at people and stuff, but I don't know.
If you're throwing chicken, it's not melee.
That's very true.
If you're
that's
whacking
very
them
true.
with the chicken, that's fine.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I think we're kind of scraping the barrel a bit now, really.
Yeah.
I think we've mentioned most of what we're really excited about. Thanks for listening to the Not Playing Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Watching Podcast, where we talk about movies and TV, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co. talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, bye!
With no booty, my friend, I'm inclined to agree, 'cause I suck at Call of Duty. There's no hope for me. I suck at Call of Duty. I suck at Call of Duty. There's no hope for me. I suck at Call of Duty.
I messed
Are you
that up.
punching a guitar or something?
I'm hearing
Sorry,
that too.
I think I'm just putting my vape down, and it weighs a ton. So
sounds
I
like
think
the
I'm just-
bard is getting beaten up in your flat.
I think I'm just going to have to edit all of that out. It's I'm the one making the fucking racket this week.